About 10 years ago, I went to this church service off of Tuckasegee. And just imagine the old traditional style church with the stained glass windows, the hardwood floors, and those big old long hard wooden pews. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember those? Okay, y'all remember. So I went to the church service, and it's an evening service. And the service begins, they having a meet and greet thing. You walk over, you hug everybody, say hello, how you doing, how the kids are doing, all that good stuff. And when service started, I went and got my seat. And slightly after service had began, my cousin walked through the door. And she had her white shirt on with her preacher collar on. And I wanted to give her attention so that she could come over and sit beside me. But Miss Dorothy, there was a problem. See, service had already started. And I didn't know her real name. I know her nickname, but I didn't know her real name. I knew the name we called her when we was at my grandma's house, and we used to make them mud pies. I knew the name we called her when we used to pick up them rocks and throw them down the hill. But I didn't know her real name. I didn't know her government name. And I didn't think it would be appropriate for me just to yell across the aisle, "Hey, Reverend Poochie." Because that's her nickname. "Come over here and sit beside me." So I kept quiet. And she went to the left side of the church while I was sitting on the right side of the church. But I don't think I'm the only one who has a family member or a friend in which you know them only by their nickname. You don't know their real name. All your life, you always call them by their nickname. Poochie, Weechie, Slap, Boo, Lil Joe, Dirt, Pink, whatever it was, the whole life you've known them by their nicknames. But you don't know them by their real names. And you know something about those nicknames. Those nicknames can be kind of cute at times. They can be kind of nice and cuddly, this little nickname. I call my grandbaby Chubby Mama, because she's a little chubby thing. I like to just pick her up, little chubby thing. But sometimes those nicknames can have some derogatory effect on them. Sometimes those nicknames can be somewhat negative. Sometimes those nicknames can be used to describe something about us or describe something that has happened to us. Or that can be used to describe something that we have done wrong in the past. And for some reason, that nickname has stuck. And we have become defined by that incident or by that nickname. Amen. But that's why I like God, Mom. That's one of the reasons why I am so in love with God. Because He does not define us by our past. Yeah. He doesn't define us by what we went through 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. He doesn't define us by something we did over here. Yeah. He doesn't define us by what we look like or what we acted like. But God defines us by the Jesus that lives on the inside of us. Amen. God looks on the inside of us and I see greatness on the inside of Him. Mm-hmm. I see greatness on the inside of her. I see love on the inside of her. I see there's good things on. I see purpose on the inside of that individual. I see somebody who can do some might. I see somebody who has grown from that mistake. They made that mistake 5 years ago. But now I look at them 5 years later and they have grown. They have prospered. They are utilizing that testimony from that mistake to be a blessing unto somebody else. God says, I see something different than what the world sees. Amen. The world would define you by your mistake. The world would define you by something you did wrong. And it doesn't matter if you apologized. It doesn't matter if you've done 10 other things right. It will still define you by what went wrong.
Yes. Amen. Yes. Amen.
Yeah. But that's what I love now. Because he sees beyond the mess. He sees beyond all that crazy stuff. He says, I see my child.
Yeah.
I see the person I created. Yes, they're not perfect. Yes, they're messed up. But that mess up does not define who they are in life.
Amen.
They are somebody special. And you just keep your eye on them. You watch what they're getting ready to do. And you watch how they're going to do great things. I have great things for them.
Amen.
Just keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on them. Think about Abraham. Think about Abraham. His name was originally Abram. And don't you remember what Abram did? He had this beautiful wife by the name of Sarah. And but when he got threatened, he thought that wife could cause him some danger. He lied and said, this is not my wife. I don't know who she is. That's my sister. But God says, I'm changing your name from Abram to Abraham. So I'm going to make you a father of many nations. Right. God didn't define him by his lie. He defined him by what he saw on the inside of him.
Amen.
God is not defining you by something you messed up on. He's going to define you by what he sees on the inside of you.
That's it. Amen.
And this woman with this issue of blood, she's been defined by her issue. But she's fighting to make sure that she is not defined permanently by her issue. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me show you. Let's take a look at the text. Let's take a look at the text. As we're looking at this text here, Jesus is standing by the Sea of Capernaum. He's just sailed across the sea. He's over here at Capernaum. He's standing on the seashore. As he's standing on the seashore, there's this man by the name of Jairus who comes over to him, falls down on his knees, and begins to plead with Jesus, begins to beg. Some of your Bibles may say use the word, he begins to entreat Jesus. And you got to understand what's going on here. Jairus is a captain of the synagogue. He's a ruler over the synagogue. That means he has a lot of responsibility. He's responsible for the worship service. He's responsible for the upkeep of the church, of the synagogue. He's responsible for the teaching that goes on in the synagogue. So Jairus is a pretty popular, pretty strong, a pretty powerful man. And it may be that Jairus is a Pharisee. The very same people who were trying to kill Jesus. But he has come and he has fallen right before Jesus on his knees. And he has begun to plead with Jesus.
Amen.
Why? Look at your text. Look at verse 22. I'm sorry, what is that verse 22? Look at 22. Actually, right, 22. One of the synagogue officials named Jairus came up and seeing him, fell at his feet and implored him earnestly, saying, my little daughter is at the point of death. Please come and lay your hands on her so that she may get well and live.
Amen.
Jairus has an issue. And his issue is that his daughter is terminally ill. But Jairus does not allow that to stop him. He doesn't allow his position to stop him. He doesn't allow the fact that the other Pharisees may see him bowing down to Jesus to stop him. He doesn't allow what other people might say about him, with a man of his stature bowing down before this Jesus to stop him. He comes and he bows down, gets on his knees, and he begins to cry out to Jesus.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
And I like that moment because he's on his knees. Being on his knees, that's a position of respect. It's a position of reverence. It's a position of humility. Being on his knees is a position of surrender. It says that in and of myself, I cannot fix this. But Jesus, I need you to step on my scene and do something about my particular situation. So he says, I am on my knees.
Right.
Because I can't do this on my own. And I need some Jesus.
Amen.
That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. And there are some of us who need to find ourselves on our knees. Because pride has gotten in the way.
Oh, yeah.
Because we see being on our knees as a position of weakness. But being on our knees is not a position of weakness, but it is a position of strength. Why? Because as I'm on my knees, that's when God can work through me.
Mm-hmm.
As I surrender my mind, surrender my heart, surrender myself unto him, then he can work through me to do what he needs to get done.
Amen.
Look at how look at how Jesus and Paul put it. Go to 2 Corinthians. The 9th chapter. 12th chapter, I'm sorry. 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. Look at what he says in verse number 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is perfected in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I would rather boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may dwell in me. Therefore, I am well content with weaknesses, with insults, with distresses, with persecutions, with difficulties for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Paul says, when I am weak, when I have this issue and I cannot fix on my own, once I realize that in the midst of my weakness, Jesus is there. And Jesus is the one who supplies me with the strength to do what I need to do. He says, when I am weak, that's when I become strong.
Amen.
Not when I'm able to fix it on my own. But he says, when I am weak. Once I understand that on my own I can't do this.
Amen.
Once I understand that in and of my strength I can't do this. Once I understand that by myself I can't take care of all those little issues going on. It says, then I become strong.
Amen. Yep.
Strong.
Yep.
Jairus was in charge of the synagogue. He was an official of the synagogue. So he is a powerful man. But by himself, he could not fix his daughter.
Amen. Amen.
And by ourselves, we can't fix all these issues we got going on.
Amen.
We need Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Amen. So here we go. Jairus, he's calling out for Jesus. He's begging, he's pleading, he's imploring Jesus, I need your help. Can you just go with me down to my house, lay hands on my daughter? I know she will be made. Jesus agrees to go with them. And as they're going, Jesus begins to go. Jairus is going. And that multitude is going also. The crowd is going. And as they're walking, the crowds are bumping up against Jesus, because they want some of what Jesus has also. So they're bumping up against him. He's walking. And as he's going, there's this woman in the crowd. Let's look at this one here. Let's describe this one. Go back to Mark. Fifth chapter. Look at what it says in verse number 25. A woman who had had a hemorrhage for 12 years and had endured much at the hands of many physicians and had spent all that she had and was not helped at all, but rather had grown worse. So you have this woman with this issue of blood. And can you imagine the physical pain this woman must experience for 12 long years? Not 12 days, not 12 weeks, not 12 months, but for 12 long years, her body has been racked with pain. But that's not all. This woman is enduring the shame and the embarrassment that would come with having this issue of blood for 12 long years. But it doesn't stop with that either. She's dealing with unmet expectations. Did you catch that in the text? Catch that? It says she went from physician to physician to physician to physician with the expectation that they could heal her. And she would try what they told her to do, only for what she tried did not work. Can you just imagine the emotional frustration she must have experienced? She's going from doctor to doctor. She gets her hopes up one time, then gets them crushed. Gets her hopes up one time, and then they are crushed. Gets her hopes up another time, and then they are crushed. Unmet expectations. And then let's go one step further. Not only her expectations have been crushed, but she's now broke. Amen. She spent everything she had. Her entire life savings. She emptied the IRA, she emptied the 401k, she did everything, she had sold everything in the house, trying to get well, and it did not work. It says that she got even worse. Can you imagine what she was going through? But it doesn't even stop right there, because the woman was isolated. Turn in your Bible to Leviticus, the 15th chapter. Leviticus, the 15th chapter. Leviticus 15. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. Look at what it says right there in verse number 25. Now, if a woman has a discharge, wait. Leviticus 15. I hit the paper stop. Right. Old Testament scripture. Part of the Pentateuch. The logical name. Those first 5 books of the Bible, the law. Y'all with me?
No.
Leviticus?
We got it.
You got it? All right. Leviticus, the 15th chapter. We're going to start at verse number 25. Now, if a woman has a discharge of her blood many days, not at the period of her menstrual impurity, or if she has a discharge beyond that period, all the days of her impure discharge shall continue as though in her menstrual impurity. She is unclean. Any bed on which she lies all the days of her discharge shall be to her like her bed administration. And everything on which she sits shall be unclean, like her uncleanness at that time. So listen to what they're saying now. He's saying that the woman is unclean. And not just for a 3, 5, 7 day period, but unclean for 12 whole years. Anything that she touches is considered unclean. Anybody who touches something that she touches is considered unclean. Anybody who touches her is considered unclean. Not only is she doing this physical issues, not only is she embarrassed, ashamed of what she's been going through, not only is she having these financial issues, now she's broke, but now also she's isolated. Outcast. Nobody wants to be bothered with her because they believe that she's going to make them unclean. Can you imagine what this woman is going through? And I think that some of us can't imagine what she's going through because we have our own issues. It may not be an issue of blood, but we have our own issues. We got our financial issues. We got our relationship issues. We got our job issues. We got our physical pain that's going on. We all have our particular set of issues. And it's getting somewhat frustrating because we've been dealing with that issue for a long time. Amen. And we try to deal with this issue, and it keeps coming back. We try to deal with this issue, but it keeps coming back. We try to deal with this issue, and it keeps coming back. And it is so incredibly frustrating. Because that issue just keeps pulling on us. I mean, we got this thing that we want to do with our lives. We want to live that prosperous life. We want to go somewhere. We want to live the abundant life. We got things that we want to do, but this issue keeps pulling on us. And it keeps pulling on us. And that issue keeps pulling on us. So then, what are we to do? What the issue is. Go back to your text.
Which one are we going back to?
Go back to Mark, the 5th chapter. Back to Mark, the 5th chapter. Look at what it says in verse number 27. After hearing everybody there? After hearing about Jesus, she came up in the crowd behind him and touched his cloak. For she thought, if I just touch his garments, I will get well. The woman says, if I could just touch his garments. Think about what's going on. There's this crowd. Jesus is walking. Jairus is walking. There's this woman in the midst of the crowd. And the woman says, excuse me. I heard about this Jesus guy up here, and I heard he heals. Yeah. I heard he performs miracles. I heard he says, excuse me, I need to get, can you move out the way, please? Excuse me, I need to get closer. Excuse me, and then she reaches down and she grabs the hem of his garment. There's some of us who need to push our way through this negativity that's crowding our minds. The multitude of negativity running through our minds, and grab hold of Jesus. So we got this negativity that says, why? We got this negativity that says, what if? We know we need Jesus, and we know we need to be connected to Jesus. But this what if stuff in our minds keeps getting in the way. Yeah. What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? What if he rejects me? What if he doesn't listen to me? What if he gives me what I want and then I turn right back around and mess it up? What if he shows me what I have been doing wrong? What if? Amen. And because of all these what ifs, we don't come wholeheartedly unto him.
That's good.
Amen. Yeah.
got all this stuff in our mind, and that stuff is moving us away from him. But he says, come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. But we got to come. But it's hard to get there if you can't push your way through the negativity in your mind.
Amen.
It's hard to get there if you can't push the mess, the doubt, the fears out the way. It's hard to get there if you're looking at yourself and saying, I don't deserve it. That miracle stuff is for them. Healing is for them. He may do it for the pastor. He may do it for elder such and such. He may do it for mother such and such. I'm not sure he's going to do that for me. I don't know. We got all this stuff running through our minds. So we don't pursue him wholeheartedly. We don't reach out wholeheartedly and grab the hem of his garment. But that's not what the woman did. The woman decided she was going to push her way through. She was not going to allow doubt to stop her. She was not going to allow what happened in the past to stop her. She wasn't going to allow those unmet expectations to stop her. The woman decided, I'm going to push through because there's a Jesus that has something that I need.
Amen.
And the Bible says that she reached out and she touched the hem of his garment. Look what it said. Look what it said. Look what it said. Go back to the text. Look at verse 27. Let's go back there again. After hearing about Jesus, she came up in the crowd behind him and touched his cloak. For she thought, if I touch the hem of his garment, I will get well. 29. Immediately the flow of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her affliction. Immediately Jesus, perceiving in himself that the power proceeding from him had gone forth, turned around in the crowd and said, who touched my garments? And his disciples said to him, you see the crowd pressing in on you, and you say, who touched me? So she presses, and she touches, and as she touches Jesus, the Bible says the power, some of you may say virtue, began to flow from Jesus. But think about what's going on now. There's this crowd of people there, and all these other people are touching him as well. So what was so different about what this woman did? She touched him just like everybody else touched him. But when she touched him, something came from him. But when they were touching him, nothing happened. It was faith.
Yes.
The text says, she touched him by faith.
Amen.
See, when she took her faith,
Yes.
her expectation that God, Jesus in the flesh, could step onto her scene and do something for her, it made a transfer from him unto her.
Amen. Amen.
It was like she pulled out her spiritual ATM card and made a withdrawal from the bank of healing.
Amen. Amen.
And we got to get the same way. We got to get this mindset that I need to make a withdrawal from the bank of healing.
Amen.
And begin to take our spiritual ATM cards out and connect with Jesus. Because by faith, she was able to make a withdrawal.
Yes.
By faith, she was able to connect with Jesus and to get the healing that she needed. She pressed her way through. She pressed her way through. She pressed her way through. And then by faith, she made a withdrawal from the bank of healing.
Amen.
Think about what Jesus said. Put that on the screen for a moment. Think about what he says. He says, So therefore I say unto you, whatsoever things you ask for when you pray, believe that you receive them and you shall. You got to believe.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
You can't make a withdrawal if you don't believe.
Yeah.
Right. Look at the next one. And he said to them, because of the littleness of your faith, for truly I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there. And it will move and nothing will be impossible for you.
Amen. Amen.
You got to have the faith to tell the mountain to move. Faith to tell the issue in your life to move. The next one, go. Look what he says. We've been talking about this one. Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden. He says, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in spirit, and you will find rest for your soul. So my yoke is easy and my burden is light. He says, I want you to come unto me. I want you to bring that issue unto me. I want you to bring that trouble unto me. I want you to bring that trial. I want you to bring that situation unto me. Just because I have told these things that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So when he says, come in faith and allow me to step onto your scene and do that which you need done.
Amen.
The woman had an issue. And she had been all over the place trying to find healing for her issue. But it wasn't until she got connected with Jesus, the healer, the teacher, the miracle worker, that she found healing for her issue.
Amen.
And we say the same thing for you. The healing for your issue is not found out there in the world, but it's found in Jesus the Christ.
Amen.
The healing for the issue is found in the chief healer, the master, the Lord.
Yeah.
He has it. And all he says is reach out. Reach out and grab. And don't reach any old kind of way. He says reach out in faith.
Amen.
Because it's by faith that healing takes place. It's by faith that you'll be able to make the connection with me that you need. By faith. It's by faith. The woman had an issue. And like all of us, she needed deliverance. She needed healing. I mean, we all have these issues that we go through. We all have these trials. We all have these situations that we find ourselves going through it. But it's that connection that we make with him. It's being able to say, I need help. I need the master. I need the Lord on my side. And being able to reach out in faith and touch him. Some of us have been holding on to some issues for a long time.
Yeah, Lord.
We've been holding on to that issue for a while. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. We've been holding on to this same issue. And that issue has frustrated us. We want the healing. But all that what if, all that negativity in our minds are preventing us from taking our issue and wholeheartedly giving it to Jesus.
Amen.
But I declare that today is a new day.
Amen. Lord. Thank you, Lord.
We don't walk out of here carrying that issue. We're not going to walk out of here and say, well, I heard a good message, but nothing is going to change. I still have this issue. I'm still going to have to deal with this stuff. But on today, we declare healing in the name of Jesus.
Yeah.